Mark McGowan from St. Michael's College and the University of Toronto, and I am on board a replica of the Jeanie Johnston here in the Liffey River in Dublin. It's a replica of a famine ship that was actually built in Canada but sailed after 1847, so it wouldn't have been a ship that would have carried any of the 1490 from Strokestown. What it does, though, is gives you a sense of the size of the average ship that transported famine migrants from Ireland and from British ports to British North America and the United States from 1847 on. The interesting thing about where we are now at Customs House Quay is this is where the first mention of Dennis Mann's 1490 comes into the papers, and on 25th of May it is said that the first wave of his migrants arrived. They were from the Kilglass parish. There were about 130 according to the local Dublin News, and for the first time it was recorded that these people actually knew where they were going, and it wasn't Quebec. One of the crowd told the reporter that they were going to Upper Canada, which is one of the first pieces of information from the Berrien in Quebec City, a weekly newspaper, that we actually know that these people may have had some agency in terms of who they met when they crossed the ocean and where they intended to settle or sojourn. Now, unfortunately, on ships like this, you had a mixed bag of captains who took care of the passengers in their care and those who did not. These were not passenger vessels, essentially. These were cargo ships that usually carried timber and grain and other cargo that would be refitted to cross the Atlantic Ocean using human ballast instead of stones. The four ships, very much like this one that the 1490 sailed on, Erin's Queen, the John Munn, the Naomi, and the Virginius, sailed out of Liverpool, and at least three of those ships had captains with, how should we say, less than adequate sanitary, food, or medical conditions on board the vessels. Unfortunately, by the time these ships reached Grosse Ile and the quarantine, about 30% of the household heads had died, and close to 1/4 or over one in every four passengers had died. Interestingly enough, and ironically here on the Jeanie Johnston, it had a perfect record of no deaths at sea when it sailed.